Sup, dude? The NBA is the best basketball league in the world. There's no arguing with that. It's where the best basketball players from all around the world play. That's why after the Nuggets won the finals, they were referred to as world champions. There was no need for them to play the EuroLeague teams because they would murder them. Sure, over the summer, Europe made the US their bitch, but that's just what happens when Josh Hart, Bobby Portis, and Cam Johnson are sent to defend a nation's honor. If Team USA sent big men who actually knew how to get a rebound, things would have gotten much better. I'm saying all this because recently Europeans have been annoying me. They've gotten cocky because of the success of guys like Luka, Jokic, and Giannis, which has inspired some pretty insane takes like this.
I think in a 7-game series, 09-10 Barcelona versus 09-10 Lakers, under FIBA rules, Barcelona win that series.
Because of this, I'm here to hate. First, let's talk about this inbred. His name is Vasilis Spanoulis, aka European Kobe. He's a former MVP of the EuroLeague as well as the 2010s EuroLeague Player of the Decade. He's basketball royalty across the pond. I don't really know why though. For his career, he averaged just 12 points and 5 assists. It wasn't even an efficient 12 points. He shot 42% from the field and 33% from 3. Adjusted per 36, his numbers go up to 17 and 6. He should have been nicknamed the European Jeff Teague. I'm just kidding. I understand scoring's harder over there. The court's smaller, there's no defensive 3, and the games are 8 minutes shorter. I'm simply goofing around, but unfortunately, what I'm about to tell you is not the product of goofing. At 22 years old, the Dallas Mavericks picked Spanoulis in the second round. He didn't end up coming to the NBA until he was 24. By then, Dallas traded his rights to Houston, who signed him to a 3-year deal. Unfortunately, 3 years was a bit of a long shot. He only lasted one, averaging 3 points, shooting 32% from the field and 17% from 3. He blamed him sucking ass on his coach Jeff Van Gundy for only playing him 9 minutes a night. The dude should have been thankful he was even getting 9 minutes. He was a complete detriment to the team, yet he expected to be treated differently because he was Mr. Big Nuts in Europe. And trust me, he 100% thought he was Mr. Big Nuts. One time he told Jeff Van Gundy that back home he was Tracy McGrady. All Jeff said back to him was, Tracy McGrady is Tracy McGrady here.
In my country, I'm Tracy McGrady. I'm T-Mac. I was like, okay.
I wish he would have just taken ownership of not playing well. If he did, I would probably like him, but instead he decided to act like a little crybaby puss boy. Fast forward to today, the 2021 EuroLeague MVP Vasilij Micic, as well as the most recent MVP Sasha Vezenkov, are both in the NBA. Unlike Spanoulis, in the small amount of time they've been given, they've actually played pretty well. Micic, who's a 6'5" point guard, is a pretty good playmaker as well as shooter. So far in 5 games played, he's putting up 5 points and 4 assists in 15 minutes a night. Per 100 possessions, that translates to 15 points and 12 assists. Over in Europe, he's been their best dude for the last few years. He won a bunch of awards and championships. Just this past season, Vezenkov overtook him as Europe's #1 dude. Vezenkov is a stretch 4 who doesn't even need to dribble to score. So far in the NBA, he's averaging a respectable 6 points in 14 minutes a night. Per 100 possessions, that jumps up to 22. If the Kings get him slinging like 10 threes a game, he could do some damage. He may move like he has shit in his butt, but whatever, his shot is butter. That first part happens to be one of the biggest reasons EuroLeague stars fail in the NBA. The physicality is extremely different. Over there, they play like a white AAU team. Lots of complex plays, tomfoolery, and ball movement. Everybody is pretty skilled at everything, and they all work as one cohesive unit. They're more focused on beating the other team with the power of friendship rather than with one dude. This means they don't have to be too athletic. Meanwhile, in the NBA, there's a certain level of athleticism that's required. This is because of how fast the game is and how skilled scorers are. EuroLeague guys who switch to the NBA usually struggle defensively because their whole life they've guarded this, but then they come to the NBA and they have to guard this. I don't blame them. If I was used to guarding white dudes all my life, then all of a sudden I have to guard a black guy, I'd be scared too. You know what else is scary? The fact that your personal information could be exposed on the internet. I just googled myself and I found my address and phone number on a bunch of those creepy people finder sites. It's scary to know my private information was out there for everyone to see. You can Google just about anyone or anything and find all sorts of private information, including your own stuff. I'm always trying to stay safe, but it's hard when you have to spend hours scouring the internet, finding your information and deleting it. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's video's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an all-in-one identity protection service. They scour the internet finding all your private information that's been made public, and they delete it. Brokers are legally required to delete your information when Aura asks them to. Not only do they do that, but they also protect you from malware, monitor your credit, and also your phone number, making sure it's not being handed out to robocallers. I used to get so many spam calls every day, but after signing up for Aura, that number has drastically decreased. The other day, Aura even emailed me letting me know that one of my emails got exposed on the dark web. Pretty scary, but no stress on me. Aura handled it. Without Aura, I would have never even known that happened. So dude, if you're concerned about your information being out there, you should be. Aura's definitely the app for you. And they're hooking all my viewers up with a 2-week free trial. So jump on there, put your info in, and see what pops up. I guarantee you it'll scare you. You can either continue letting people exploit and profit off your private information, or you can go to aura.com/NBA-goober and start your 2-week free trial today. Link is also in the description, and big thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Alright, so it's way too early to say if Micic and Vezenkov are busts. Personally, I think Micic is more likely to bust because of the situation he's in, but Vezenkov, on the other hand, I think he can carve out a nice role for himself. Sacramento just feels like a solid spot to be in. Spanoulis, Micic, and Vezenkov are just 3 of the many EuroLeague MVPs to give the NBA a shot. The crazy thing is, only 2 of those MVPs have turned into All-Stars. Those 2 dudes are of course Luka Doncic and AK-47. Luka won it as just a wee lad, and Andre won it near the end of his career. Other than that, the other EuroLeague MVPs didn't have much fun. For example, this is Jan Vesely. He was drafted 6th by the Wizards in 2011. This dude was getting compared to the 7-foot Schnitzel, and he also referred to himself as the European Blake Griffin. Those 2 comparisons couldn't have been more wrong. In 3 years, he averaged 3 points, 3 rebounds, and shot 40% from the free throw line. The dude was actually horrible, but only in the NBA. When he went back to Europe, he won MVP. Along with him, other EuroLeague MVPs Nikola Mirotic and Milos Teodosic did not have fun in the NBA. Teodosic, if you didn't know, is considered to be one of the greatest passers in European history. Surprisingly, he lasted just 60 games in the NBA. At first, he played pretty well, averaging 9 points and 5 assists, but then his feet kept getting sore, his minutes dropped, and then the Clippers waived him. Unlike Spanoulis, Milos didn't go out sad, which I'm glad about because I liked him. He just said the NBA's in form and then went back home. To this day, he's still getting buckets over there. Unlike Teodosic, Mirotic left the NBA because Bobby Portis punched him in the face. I'm kidding. He left because he wanted a bigger role, and he also wanted his kids to grow up in Europe. Sucks for those kids. They'll never get to experience the epic highs and lows of high school football.
Ready. We're ready to go out there and hit him!
What was weird about him leaving the NBA was that he was a really solid player. The dude was a stretch 4 who could give you like 15 points a night. On top of that, he got offered a 3-year, $45 million contract, but turned it down. I hope his kids don't find out about that. If the dude really cared about them, he would have toughed out the 3 years. It's not like he was in Spanoulis' situation. He actually played well in the time he was given. After he made it back to the EuroLeague, his wishes came true. He became one of the best players and won tons of awards, including the 2022 MVP. Although he wasn't bad by any means, he wasn't anything more than a role player. Out of 17 EuroLeague MVPs, 13 of them played in the NBA, but only 2 of them were above average, and many failed miserably. This is pretty crazy to me because the EuroLeague is the #2 basketball league in the world. You'd think their best players would be able to perform well in the NBA, but for the most part, that just hasn't been the case. While their MVPs all haven't been that great, their teams have played and beaten NBA teams. There have been 17 instances where this happened. One of those being when 2010 Barcelona and the 2010 Lakers faced off in an unofficial world championship. Barcelona came out on top 92-88, which theoretically should mean there is no gap between the NBA and EuroLeague, but that's just not the case. The Lakers didn't give a shit. It was just a friendly little game before the season. But as you saw in that clip earlier, that dude seems to think 2010 Barcelona could beat the 2010 Lakers in a 7-game series. That's an insane thing to say. Yes, that Barcelona team was great, but if the Celtics couldn't beat the Lakers, then there's no way in hell these goobers are. Don't get me wrong though, I love European dudes. Some of my favorite players came from Europe. Just like don't say stupid things. If the Lakers played a serious 7-game series against Barcelona, they would violate them. Same goes for if the Nuggets played the 2023 Barcelona team. Jokic would molest Jan Vesely. Hopefully more international players follow in the footsteps of Jokic rather than Euro Kobe. But as we will see in the 2024 Olympics, America is still home to the greatest basketball on earth. If Team USA ends up playing like they did over the summer, feel free to come back and call me a fuck ass. I hope more EuroLeague stars give the NBA a shot because I like the way they play, especially Victor Wembanyama. That dude is an anomaly. Click here to see what I have to say about him. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Bye, dude.